this is an awesome place to park, dude. Well, hello. I think that looks familiar, but this is not the walk around that we had last time. This one's a bit different. You might notice that I've changed a few things. That is the topic of today's vlog. One thing that I've changed is that, well, are these here. Because I've changed, well, I've bought side bags, big hard case bags. I'm gonna put up some pictures here. I was too lazy to bring them down from the apartment because I'm not gonna ride with them today. I took off the mud guard. I kind of took it off because I had trouble, putting some of the stuff on. I couldn't get to this screw here. So that's why I took it off, and it usually goes on something like this, and I just thought, fuck, this thing is way too ugly and it's huge. Well, the pannier holders, they go in here. There was some kind of other rack thingy that is for the BMW side bags, but I took that off. There's also the lock, the pannier lock for the original BMW side bags, but that's also gone. The funny thing is, well, it sprays a bit more, but it frees up the rear. I mean, if you look at it like this, you can see the bike from the back. You can see the tire more, and I really like that. But you can see that I rode the other day, and you can see the line here. But the top case does a good job to keep my back clean. I don't have the proper tools, but I was able to get the screws out to get rid of it, but I couldn't reach back in there and put the screws back in, so I just thought, nah, I'm not gonna bother, fuck it. So that's change number one, and basically change number two. The next thing I changed just yesterday, I bought a new shield, a new windscreen. This one's black. It looks a bit different. I already noticed that the airflow is gonna change. I think it's a bit shorter. Maybe the angle is different too. I took some before and after pictures that I'm gonna put in the video, but I definitely like the way the bike looks. Let's see how the windshield is when I'm riding this thing. Today's vlog is about changing stuff on your bike, modifying certain things. I mean, the screen isn't such a big deal, I guess, for you, but I thought, why not give it a try? It's the whole thing. You can see the snow here in the corners, like there's shadow here, it doesn't melt, and it's not as cold anymore. The weather got better, got a bit warmer. I'm not going back to the mountains because I'm still waiting for what's coming and what's not. Yeah, and I have no idea where I'm going. I'm just kind of like going somewhere. So I realize, I know that many people like vlogs where people actually talk about the bikes. And that's something I'm attempting here. So it's not so much about Japan, what is Japan like, but more about, what I'm riding at the moment. Yeah, so changing stuff on your bike. So I got the idea for the windshield because there's this forum, basically F800riders.org. I'm not sure, maybe you're the same, but when I'm bored, I go on like Amazon and I just look at all the stuff that you can buy for this particular bike, and I just think about or dream about what I want to buy, what I should buy, what I could buy. But I don't just buy anything. I mean, it all costs money, and I'm not sure if it will actually be an improvement or not. So the idea that I got was like, read up on this stuff, right? Read up on the bike and on the mods and on the items you can change. And so I kind of recommend to you guys that you find forums, and probably there is a forum for your type of bike, and they are discussing everything already. You will find tons of posts about exhausts or changing brakes or suspension or something like that. I mean, it's a bit more pricey, as I said. Changing the shield is probably not a very big change. I got the idea because someone who said he was rather tall, and on a F800S, which is more like a sports bike, he was complaining about the shield because the air would blow the wind directly on the helmet, on the visor, and he said it was noisy. So some other people noticed that he was using the shield of the ST, which is a bit taller, and maybe that's why. So it didn't actually fit the bike very well. Oh, look at that, the snow on ice. So I got the idea, if there's more wind on the chest or face with a shorter shield, maybe I should try that, because you know the summer is coming and I'm thinking more air means maybe that it's gonna be cooler. So I picked a rather cheap one off Amazon and I just went with it, and that's what you see now. Plus I like the black. I wanted to see the black. Also, what I found really interesting on the site was that they were discussing exhausts, and it never occurred to me. I know that if you take the decibel killer out of the bike, that it gets louder, obviously, but also that you gain some horsepower, right? So I was thinking I should change, not take the dB killer out, but maybe think about another exhaust, something smaller, because the stock exhaust it looks pretty big, and it is quite big, and I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of it. So that's on my list, but they are expensive. So 50,000 yen, 100,000 yen. And I was looking at a few brands. And also interesting, because you can practically put my bike name into YouTube and a certain exhaust name, and people have the, you know, like audio samples of the bike with a different exhaust on it. They just sit in their backyard and rev it up, but it's still, you can hear the sound somewhat. So I've spent a lot of time listening to exhaust sounds on YouTube. I don't know, is the sound the most important thing? Maybe yes, but when I read up on it online, I realized that some of the slip-on exhausts that you put on the bike will actually lead to losing performance of the bike, and that's something that surprised me. I was gonna read it again before I talk about it on the vlog, but I didn't, and now I'm kind of like trying to make sense of it again. But the main thing that made me change my mind was that they had a Leo Vinci, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but they had this exhaust, and someone tried 3 different exhausts. One was a Remus, the other one was the Leo Vinci, and the other one was the stock exhaust. And they went to this dyno thing where you put the bike on and you shift through the gears, I believe, and see like a range of different revs and the performance of the bike, like how it changes and how much horsepower it actually gives and how fast and how strong the bike actually is. And he said, and I was quite surprised about the fact, that you lose look here, snow. I know I'm careful. I know why I'm careful. Snow in the middle of the fucking road. So basically they said don't buy that one because maybe the sound is to your liking, but you lose like 5 horsepower in that range and in that range. And that's the one thing they said about the Remus Revolution, that there's a kind of hole in performance around the 3.5 to 4.5 rev range, which is at a 10,000 rev bike, pretty much the middle. That's maybe the exhaust that I should buy. So I really recommend that you look up stuff online. I mean, that you look up these forums. I don't know if you have Kawasaki, whatever, or Suzuki or something like that. So yeah, I'll keep you up to date to what I'm doing here and what I'm changing on the bike. Exhaust is probably coming in summer. It's a kind of money thing at the moment. And yeah, and you will probably see me use the side bags in the end of May.